What's going on, everyone? It's JDG Retro here, back again with another video, and I'm going to teach you how to spot fake Pokemon games. So I just got back purchasing a giant video game lot, and I don't think a lot of people know how to actually spot a fake game when it comes to buying lots of retro video games. So I would like to take a moment here to preface this by saying, you're buying very expensive games, and it does matter if you're buying fake games. So definitely check your games out if you're buying them locally, or definitely add an extra layer of skepticism if you're buying them online, because a lot of people think they have real games and they actually don't, and they don't really know how to tell if they have real games. So when you go to buy these games, you got to really check them out for yourself to make sure that you're buying real video games. Now, the way you can tell on these Game Boy Advance games is if you zoom in real close here, you can see right above that Nintendo logo there that there is an actual number above there that is stamped into the label. Now, this is a really good way to indicate whether the game is real or fake when it comes to a Game Boy Advance games. I believe all the Game Boy Advance games have this stamp in them. You can really tell if you zoom in and you take a picture. I can show you what it looks like on a picture that I've taken here real quick. Now, another way you can tell is you can take a picture like this, and right above there you can see kind of like a date, and you can see it says Nintendo above the pins there. That is another way to tell that the board is actually a legitimate Pokemon game, because you would not be able to see a Nintendo stamp there or a year that it was published and all that stuff. So definitely check that those things exist above the pins of the cartridge, because if they don't, then it's probably a fake game. Now, the other way you can tell is if you look at the back of the cartridge, and you can see this like 4 golden pins here. That is another way to tell if it's a real game. It's easier to check on these Pokemon games because most of them are see-through cartridges. I'll just show you on this other game here that this is also a real game, because you can see that there's those 4 pins there that you can see clearly. And you can also see that there is a number stamped above the Nintendo seal right there. Definitely keep your eye out on those 3 things. The number here, these 4 like pin looking things here on the corner, and then the Nintendo wording on the cartridge above the pins, and the year it was produced on the left of the Nintendo logo. Again, I'll show you what that looks like on my camera here. And that is how you spot a fake Pokemon GBA game. Now, when it comes to these DS games, these are a bit harder. I actually do have one of these games is a fake. Now, DS games are a lot harder to tell whether they are fake or not, as you cannot open them up, you can't examine them. A lot of these DS games labels have gotten really good at being faked. They are very convincing fakes. You might even buy a loose DS game because they're more expensive if you buy them complete in box. And this particular game is actually a fake game, And the way you can tell is if you look at the top of the cartridge, it's not really, there's no notch there. It's just a complete sealed game. Now, I will show you what this real copy of Pokemon Pearl looks like. This game is actually real. It's really hard to tell based on the label, but if you just look at the top here, there is this ever so slight notch in the top. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about this when it comes to DS games. This notch just proves that it's like more authentic, and definitely take an extra eye and look at the label and just try to confirm whether it's real or not. I know a lot of these DS games have gotten a lot more convincing when it comes to fakes, so just be on the lookout for that. And the sure way to tell is definitely look at the top of the cartridge. Does it look, like this, where it's just all the way through glued and there's no notch? Or does it look like this, where there's actually a notch in the cartridge and there's actually a way to tell whether there's segregation there? Because that is a very clear indication that this is a real Pokemon game and not a fake. So definitely be on the lookout for these fake DS games because they are literally everywhere. In fact, I bought this game from my local retro game store and they didn't even know that it was a fake. So you could be buying a fake game that's not worth nearly as much. And if you don't really care that it's a fake, that's one thing. But if the video game store sells you a fake game and they don't know it's fake and they charge you like full price for it, especially when it comes to the more expensive versions of like Heart Gold or, Pokemon White 2, those games are just more expensive loose and you're just going to get robbed more and more of your money. So keep your eyes out on these fake DS games and the fake GBA games. Learn how to test and verify these games. Now, the absolute surefire way to tell if these games are fake is to open these up and check the contents of the cartridge and verify, is there a big black blob in there telling you that this board just does not look like a real cartridge? That is definitely a surefire way to check that this is a real game. So I just wanted to give a quick rundown on Game Boy Advance as well as these DS games, as these are games that are faked all the time. So definitely keep your eyes out when you're buying lots of games and examine everything before you buy them. And I would appreciate it if you find this content interesting or useful. Just give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my content or leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. And I will see you guys in the next one.